Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Welcome back to the fifth and final segment of the night. We're not talking about the Four Nations face-off anymore. We are talking about the Calgary Flames giving the next up in the season preview. Unfortunately, I do look at cap friendly a lot for these season previews, looking at the contract breakdowns for each team. Cap friendly has shut down officially today, which is so sad. Rest in peace, capfriendly.com. Help me out a lot. You guys don't know how much I look into Cap Friendly on a daily basis for this podcast exclusively. So, unfortunately, the website is shut down. Disappointed now. But there are other means that we could go to. I'm not going to be talking about any contracts, unfortunately, because Cap Friendly is shut down. But I am just going to be talking about the Calgary Flames offseason moves, looking at their lines for next season, and just talking about how, as a whole, this team is going to be. The moves that they did this offseason. Well, they started this offseason with a blockbuster trade. It was giving the New Jersey Devils the goaltender that they've wanted for a very long time. Now they don't have Jacob Markstrom on their team. That was a big part of the last couple to few years in Calgary. They traded him away for Kevin Ball, a defenseman that's going to be on their team next season. And then the New Jersey Devils next year first-round pick. That is top 10 protected for the New Jersey Devils. I don't think the Flames have to worry about that. I think they knew that when they made the trade. The New Jersey Devils are going to be pretty good next season. They're not going to get a top 10 pick, and I might say that, and then they're going to flop, but whatever. So that's how they kicked off this offseason. And then another blockbuster trade. They sent Andrew Mangiapane to the Washington Capitals. Added to the Washington Capitals kind of retool for next season, kind of making them, helping them push them into a playoff contention spot again next season. That's kind of the direction that they're trying to go. Whether I agree with that direction or not, that is the direction they're going to go in. So they got a second-round pick for next year back from Andrew Mangiapane. And then they made a draft night trade, gave the Flyers a fourth-round pick for a fifth and sixth. Not too important. They did extend qualifying offers to all their players, and then they signed a couple of free agents to two-way contracts and nothing else. They also signed Zane Parekh to an entry-level contract, also signed Etienne Martin to an entry-level contract. So for their lines for next season, what it looks like, it does not look too bad. However, this team is not going to be that good. And I think they know they're not going to be that good. I think they want to go into a rebuild, the Calgary Flames do, and next season is the start of it. Jonathan Huberdeau, Mikael Backlund, and Blake Coleman is their first line. Jonathan Huberdeau just had an absolute flop of last season, and actually, as I do all this, I do want to look up Calgary Flames' last year stats here, just so that, because, they did keep They kept a good amount of the same players. So it was Nazem Kadri that led the team in points. He's going to be on their third line for next season, third line center. But other guys that helped this team offensively, Blake Coleman had 30 goals, which is kind of a shock. I do expect him to regress. Jonathan Huberdeau, 52 points in 81 games, a minus 29. Mikael Backlund, 39 points in 82 games, a minus 4. This team's just not going to be that good next season, and it's not going to be too much of a shock when they aren't that good next season. Nazem Kadri is going to be pretty good. You knew he was going to be good, but that Florida trade kind of killed them. You trade away Matthew Tkachuk for Jonathan Huberdeau, basically 1-for-1, and Matthew Tkachuk became the better player. You expected more out of Jonathan Huberdeau, but you didn't get more out of him. So, what can you do? Connor Zary, Yegor Sharangovich, and Anthony Mantha is going to make up their second line. Connor Zary had 34 points in 63 games last season. That's not going to cut it on a second line. Yegor Sharangovich had 59 points in 82 games. That's pretty good. 31 goals, a minus 29. It's going to need to be tidied up if this team wants to win games. They don't want to win games. Anthony Mantha, who has always been a fourth line guy on any team he's been on is now on a second line. That's going to be a little bit difficult. That's not going to be too good. And then you have Martin Pospisil, Nazem Kadri, and Andrei Kuzmenko for their third line. Martin Pospisil just had 24 points in 63 games. It's not going to cut it. The other guy, I'm completely blanking on his name. Andrei Kuzmenko had 25 points in 29 games played. That's actually pretty good. That is a very healthy sign, especially for Andrei Kuzmenko, who I believe is only... no, he is 28 years old. That's kind of a shock then. Yeah. He played very well for the Calgary Flames after he got traded to that team midway through last season. But, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the Calgary Flames for next season. I don't think that this team's going to look too good. You might have prospects like Matt Coronado coming up. But other than that, nothing too exciting here. They do get Zane Parekh, who a lot of guys might think that he might be a bust. Looking at the dev camp videos, his skating looked a little wonky at times. I would be a little bit concerned about that. I did have him lower than a lot of the defensemen on my mock drafts. I think I had him as one of the bottom defensemen. I definitely had him under Z Byam and Sam Dickinson, who he went above both of them, and Anton Silyev, who he went above as well. So I don't have too much faith. I don't think that the team's going to be too good. And then on top of that, their defense got way worse. Like, they lost some big guys. They lost from last season Nikita Zadorov, who played in 21 games for them. I believe they do have Mackenzie Weegar on their team still. But yeah, they lost some very key pieces to this core. I can't find all the defensemen here. But from last season to this season, the defensive core does not look even remotely the same, and I just would be a little bit concerned. I mean, they also lost Elias Lindholm halfway through the year, which they got way worse after he goes. I mean, ever since Johnny Gaudreau left to go to the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2022, this team's been kind of on that downwards trajectory, and this is kind of the season that we're going to see come to fruition. Their defensive core is Mackenzie Weegar, Daniil Mirmanov, Kevin Ball, Rasmus Anderson, Jake Bean, Braden Paschal. That's really not good. And then their goaltending core is Dustin Wolf and Daniel Vladar. I just have no faith in this team. I'm not going to lie. This team's not going to be good next season. So where does that leave them in the Central? In the Pacific? Well, the Pacific, the good thing for the Flames is the Pacific has a bunch of bad teams, right? Like, the Kraken aren't going to be good, the Ducks aren't going to be good, the Sharks aren't going to be good, the Golden Knights have offloaded a lot of people, the Kings have offloaded a lot of people. The Pacific is kind of wide open. Doesn't mean they're going to be good. Like, they still have to contend in the West, and I would say that they are above the Sharks, below the Ducks, and finish 7th in the Pacific. I think they finish around 65 to 70 points. I'll get to where I think the Sharks will be, but I think 65 to 70 makes sense. I think they lose a lot of games this year. Lack of goaltending, lack of depth, lack of high-end scoring is just really not what you want to see. They were 81 points in 82 games played last year, and they got worse. So I don't have too much faith in the Calgary Flames. Of course, they can prove me wrong. Man, I've been proved wrong in the past. Nobody thought the 2017 Vegas Golden Knights were going to be as good as they were, and they ended up being fantastic. So I've been proven wrong in the past. I don't know if I'm going to be proven wrong on this one. I think I got them pinned pretty well. But that'll do it for the Calgary Flames season preview. Not too much to talk about them. They made some offseason moves, offloading a bunch of cap, offloading a bunch of people to go into rebuild mode. Now they're in rebuild mode. Let's see what goes forward for the Calgary Flames. They do have other guys that they could definitely offload in this offseason or over the course of next season. Whether that's going to be Mackenzie Weegar or, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mikhail Backlund, other guys all over this lineup can definitely go. So that'll wrap it up for the Calgary Flames season preview. When I come back that'll wrap it up for this GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you all for your support throughout this show. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you leave make sure that you like and subscribe on YouTube. Rate us on whatever you are listening to this on, whether that's Spotify or Apple Podcast. Thank you all for your support once again. If you would like to have more content and update from the GSMC Sports Network, you can follow us at the GSMC Sports Network on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to get more content and updates. But now, thank you guys once again for all your support and tuning in. Have a fantastic and wonderful evening, everybody.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow.